Yeah, and like she just like cries to like manipulate situations, and she's just like straight up toxic. So like I had to sleep on the couch temporarily because having that in the house, it's really...
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Yeah. Alright, listen, talking to you guys about The Bachelor Season 25, Episode 2. We're going to speak specifically about the Mad Hatter's Victoria. Yes, the Mad Hatter's Victoria. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. Let's get into the video. We don't waste too much time and talk about some real things. So don't forget as well, guys, if you are a returnee, well, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. All right, let's get into it. All right, cool. So talking obviously about Victoria, I think it was a very interesting episode because you guys already know I spoke about Victoria in the very first episode. I spoke about how I didn't like her attitude and the way she behaved. I think that was universal for a lot of people who watched the show. In this particular episode, she was deplorable. I'm just going to be real with you. Her attitude was deplorable. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think there's many bad people, but there are deplorable attitudes and behaviors that people exhibit. She is exhibiting one of those poor attitudes. I think, you know, I'm hoping that she's doing a lot for the show.
You forgot?
I didn't forget.
Oh,
Come
okay.
in.
With Matt, I definitely feel a connection. I want to see if it's romantic. So, Queen Victoria is ready for her big day. And
I'm hoping that she's doing it for, you know, to get a return season for Bachelorette for herself or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that she's doing this for her. I'm hoping this is not her real behavior, because if that is, it's sad. So I'm going to take it as if it is actual behavior. And as always on this channel, we're going to break her behavior all the way down. Now, many people think when they're being real is you know, they have to be rude. No. You don't have to be rude to be real. Truth doesn't have to escape without love. I always tell you guys this. So when you think you're being real, but you're intentionally hurting people's feelings just so that you can show that you're being real, it's not being real. It's actually being offensive. The truth is offensive on its own. It doesn't need you to add a label of disingenuity in terms of your actual intentions of you telling a person that. And right throughout the whole show, what we saw, I would say we saw bullying. I would say we saw gaslighting. I would say we saw manipulation. I would say we saw somebody who's insecure. I think we saw also some very high competitive energy unnecessarily in the environment that she was in.
her time with him. You guys are either lying or fake or like losers, and get off the show. This is not a sorority.
Right? And she stuck out like a sore thumb and then made everybody else an enemy to her. So there's a lot that was actually going on within that show. Her inability to function within the group is also kind of very telling. I mean, you know, sometimes people can go over the top and they can make a mistake, and the group setting, the group society can go through a phase where they don't like you, they don't want to be around you, they don't want to be, you know, don't want to be associated with you. But this has been over a procession of time. It's been consistent from the very first episode. I mentioned to you guys about how she dealt with Kit, and I said that was crazy. I think it was Ortegan or Oregano. I can't remember her name was, whatever. You know, she will say to the girl, go and talk to Matt right now. When I say go right now, go right now. And it was like, nah, B, listen, we don't need to do all of that, right? So we saw some behaviors that were not great in the first episode, even the way she was very forceful about wanting to see Matt as well. So in episode 2, we get to see a lot of her behaviors. For instance, number 1, we see her interrupting the wedding photos of Matt, and I think it was Mari, I think, as well at the time, and she thinks this is cool. Now, I think obviously Matt James is obviously tolerating her because maybe the executives have said, listen, she provides good TV, keep her in, etc, etc. But I don't think he likes her. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a scene where,
If it's romantic. So, Queen Victoria is ready for her big day, and we are going to take it up a notch.
This is the
when she finally gets to have a photo with Matt James, you'll see him hug her, but the way he hugs her, it's almost like when you're that college athlete hugging that girl that wants a photo of you that you don't really like. That's what I saw of him. The way his hand came around her, she forced the kiss. He didn't really want it. You know, you can see even his facial expression when they took the photo showed that he was not interested in this. I really think he's doing a lot for TV. He's doing his best, you know, get the ratings up because he has to. It's part of the job, and so therefore he's tolerating her behavior. But I can't see him, if he's really got a good sense of him and he listens well, I can't see him really being cool with Victoria. Even in the conversations between himself and Victoria, she seems to interrupt a few times as well. So it's not cute where she's finishing the sentence, like a bit like what happened with Bree and happened with Matt James earlier on, when they were talking about their missing fathers, and then she finished off his sentence saying, "Oh, you know, you mean like it's a desire for big families?" And he was like, yeah. But in the case where Victoria's sitting down with Matt, that interruption isn't cute. In fact, she does it. This is not the first time. The first episode, when they're sitting on the steps, she did the exact same thing. She interrupted him with the fire hose situation conversation, and it was just not cute.
I was really impressed with you today.
Yeah, I wanted that hard.
Yeah, I saw that. And
yeah. But I have a lot of sides to me too, and like, as much as I come across confident, like, I want to.
Cute. It wasn't invited. It wasn't lovely. It wasn't lovely to watch. It wasn't pretty. For me, I was annoyed by it. Do you know what I mean? And I can only imagine Kit was annoyed by her interruption by it in the first place, and I can imagine Matt was probably annoyed by it as well. So I really think it's great TV that he's left her in. I think it's great TV that she's still in. A little bit of drama, I guess they want to envelop into the series. I always say this though, I don't think you need to do that. I think there's enough drama as it is, but here we go. Let's just break down, obviously, some of the kind of behaviors that we're actually really seeing. So the competitiveness in the group setting. So the group itself of women seem to have some camaraderie, right? There's some level of camaraderie whilst also being competitive. They understand that there is competition, but they're competing in a certain way where it's not detrimental to the womanhood in the group. And so because that is a society norm and the rule that they've established amongst themselves, when Victoria's doing the most, coming into the group and saying, "You guys are ganging up on me," and "You guys say you don't like me," and then doing some really wild stuff to try and get extra time with Matt, for instance, the really poor behavior that she exhibited towards Marilyn, and we'll break that down later on as well. The really poor stuff that she did to Marilyn, where in the end, because she went to see Matt twice, okay, not the first, just like the first episode, she took time away from another girl. And now remember, the group has installed some camaraderie here.
Yeah, you're right, because if Victoria hadn't said anything to Matt, he wouldn't have taken Marilyn the second time, and that would have been time that he could have spent with another girl.
Like, I'm just pissed off. Like, it was such a...
So nobody's taken 2 times to go and see him. Now, unless James wants to see you a second time, no one's taking 2 turns, because they're understanding the camaraderie that they're having, at least in some sense, that whilst we are competing, there is a level of honor amongst thieves kind of behavior, right? There's a level of honor amongst the women when it comes to the competition. Victoria is deciding to not abide by those society rules, and now has ostracized herself in the group. Okay, she's the one that most people don't like. She's in the group where universally people do not want to interact with her.
I thought like the Queen Victoria thing was like an act at first, but then I'm like, I think that's actually her, which is even scarier.
That's problematic. It's a bit like Denise from Ready to Love, where you're saying, I'm coming here for man. I'm not coming here to make friends. Yes, but you never know what can happen in future. You see, you may not get the man in the end, but let's say one of the girls has a brother or a friend. Now, what are they going to say about you? That is 30 women who've got a bad opinion of you. That is, is that 30 women that's left? I don't know. It's almost 20 plus women, right? Who are going to have a very sour, bad opinion of yourself. Not to mention on the TV, we've got over how many millions of people watching the show. That's a bad opinion. If you're coming towards my brother, you think I'm not gonna say something to him? I'm like, bro, have you not seen her on The Bachelor? Bro, you need to check her out, blood. Do you understand? So a lot of people are gonna want to avoid you simply with this kind of behavior. It's not cute. She's a villain who we don't like. You know, there's some villains when you get with them, when you see them on reality TV, you know what? You love to hate them. Yeah? They do stuff that you love to hate them. Like, oh, I hate you, but you know what? You just, something about you. Her, you just hate to hate her. You do not want to like her. There is nothing encourageable about her behavior. Right, so for me, it's a problem. So I want to break down something. So the reason why some people can get very competitive to the point where it becomes detrimental to them. I want to talk about some things here. One is insecurity and low self-esteem. So, with insecurity, what can happen is people can end up trying to belittle others and crush others in order to make themselves feel better. So, for instance, when she interrupts Mari, it's an intentional interruption. It's not about, it's my turn. No, it's about making sure that Mari feels uncomfortable. She wants to let her know that I'm there. She wants to let Mari know, listen, as much as it's your time, I want to show you that I want to show you that I am the queen, I'm the top boss, which is why she calls herself queen. Again, it's to establish rule. It's to establish that she's better than everybody else. And that's the energy she's given off, right? And unfortunately, that is a clear indication of insecurity and also a low self-esteem that requires you to beat others down in order for you to look good. Okay, it's a bully mentality. Another reason is that oftentimes from childhood, people can have a scarcity of emotional care and need, and have always been in a place of sacrifice having to survive and having to fight in order to receive some aspect of emotional care. And so since they've been in a place where they've consistently have to fight and be competitive for emotional care, naturally when they get into competitive arenas, the same effect, or the person goes back into almost into a regressive state of thinking that they are still back in those days when they were younger. And unfortunately that plays a part in when you're older and the way that you think and perceive things. She's perceiving it as a scarcity of emotional care and need. Who is that from? That's from Matt. So as is a competition, she's seen it as either I gotta live, or either I gotta live or you gotta die, or you gotta die or I gotta live. It's a life and death situation because of what you've experienced in the past, and that scarcity provides a certain mindset, and in this competition has been a trigger for that mindset to take place once more again. It could be another reason, obviously, again, is just that this could be full-blown narcissism. It could be. I'm very careful not to go straight into narcissism and sociopath because it's something that needs to be diagnosed oftentimes, and often it's very easy to go and start narcissism without really exploring other options as well. With narcissism, very close to what we've explained here as well, that there's a need to extend one's power over others to show their greatness. There's a need for the other people to be a part of their game in order for them to look their total best. It's a need for others to be under control to exhibit their prowess, in a sense, right? And that conquering you shows off how good they are. And so the competitive behavior, which is overbearing, is showing its ugly head. Also, there's a lot of defensiveness. So the making everybody else an enemy in the world without really self-reflecting on one's own behavior really just shows that the person may have gone through some series of events where people have turned against her, or what she has seen is that people have not been for her, and has gone into what I'll call, how do I explain this? The mindset where you can't trust anybody. Right? Because in the past, everybody has betrayed you. Now, when you've suffered some real deep betrayals, you can find it very hard to really trust people in future. And it's all about you, and it's all about defending you. But that is something that it can happen to anyone in terms of your experiences. I don't know how true that would be for her case, just because of the way that she's behaving. But it's something to consider as well. So there was an interesting scene where obviously Brie went on a date with Matt, and she was saying that she wasn't jealous.
Take Chris's advice and be very mindful about time with Matt, for sure.
Wait, first of all, I didn't even talk to Bree, so I don't have that little friendship that you guys have. And
no, she just wanted to have time with Matt, and she can't believe that everyone else is really thinking that way. And some parts of her, what she's saying is actually true. Why are the women being so, happy and camaraderie with the fact that Bree's going to get the man? Because at the end of the day, it is a competition. But at the end of the day, also, life is a competition. We can't play this game as if that life doesn't happen after this. This is only one for a few months or whatever, that we're doing this for a few weeks or whatever. Life will happen after. Your name will be spoken after this show. So in order so for her, I know she sees it as a life, because the way she basically seems like, look, guys, you're in a competition, right? Like, why are you not pretending as if you're friends? But the thing is, she doesn't know that. There are people who genuinely have friendships. And again, this may be due to what you've experienced, that you can't trust nobody and nobody's trustworthy, nobody's truthful, no one's reliable or dependable, so therefore I can only rely on myself. And so when you're in this competition, you're seeing other women being reliable and dependable on each other and not trying to shoot each other. In fact, one of the girls actually came out and said, listen, look, to be honest, I'm happy for Brie. I can be excited for Brie at the same time wanting to do better myself. I don't need to have the hater syndrome. And that's what Victoria is actually exhibiting right now, a hater syndrome. Although it's not hated directly towards Brie, it's hated towards anybody who potentially could do better than she could. And she has a very high estimated view of herself. I would say, an elevated view of oneself. And I don't know if I don't know. It's not consistent with how the group sees her. And I don't think it's consistent with how Matt also sees her as well. There was some even behaviors here as well. The provocation that she instituted when they were doing the photos. After she finished her photos, when she was walking past the girl, she kind of fluttered her, I don't know if it's a veil or what, into the girl's face as she was walking past. And I just thought to myself, this is provocation. It's the bully tactic. It's that people don't even do anything to you and you're trying to attack them. Almost like get them before they get me. There may be a little bit of paranoia in this as well. This may be a little bit of PTSD from what you've experienced in the past or whatever, kind of just triggering you in this scenario. And competition can do that to you. Competition can really take you back to the Hunger Games. It's that real. Competition can really make you feel you're back in the Hunger Games where like you were in the past, where you were scrapping for every single piece of love, attention, affection, or you may have experienced something very, very traumatic. So for me, I saw a lot of these things and I was like, why is she doing that? It's like even the interaction of Mari's wedding, right? The Mari wedding photo, it's abysmal, blood. How can you think, and the girls were laughing, but it's like, how can you think, Victoria, that when you interrupted the wedding photo of Mari, this will be something that is showing there's a desire for him? No, you're showing your kind of psychosis. You're showing that you're kind of mad. You understand? There's boldness. And then there's this overstepping the mark. And that really is overstepping the mark. Not understanding social cues. You know what I'm saying? Not understanding the social cues and social norms that are existing in there. Like nobody's done anything that bad to you that you're willing to fight tooth and nail already. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no need, and so I wanted to even discuss, herself and Marilyn and what actually happened.
I'm listening. What do you have to say?
Okay, it's a little bit loud. Do you mind if I just sit here?
No, I don't want to sit next to you.
All right, I'm just going to speak my heart to you, okay?
Go for it.
Victoria,
and kind of just break it down in terms of their situation. So what I feel here has happened: gaslighting, accusal, and wrongful accusing, I would say that as well. And I'll just say there's this air of just arrogance and conceitedness that has been shown by Victoria. So the initial argument, what happens when Victoria comes into the group, she's actually insulting everybody. Trying to say everybody's, everybody, and then she narrows it down, specifically to Marilyn, who's a roommate. And I think this is purposeful. I'm not saying that Marilyn didn't say anything. I'm not saying Marilyn didn't feel a way towards Victoria, but I definitely felt like Victoria knew exactly what she was doing when she chose Marilyn. She went after Marilyn because she's much more quieter. She's not as talkative. She went after Marilyn because the same way she went after Marilyn is similar to how she was gonna try and go after Maggie, but Maggie didn't want to engage too tough. When she's like, "So Maggie, why are you rolling your eyes to the heavens?"
You going like that?
I'm in shock.
I was shocked.
I'm not saying I don't trust you because I don't know what happened, but I'm just in shock because I know Marilyn. She
right? It's the same kind of thing, right? Similarly enough. And so when obviously people like Victoria, they thrive over people giving them attention. They thrive over people, not checking them, or someone of equal importance or power they may feel checking them and putting them in their place. They will continue to do what they're doing, right? I saw a video of Marilyn as well on Instagram where she was saying, we show love. And I wanted to say this, listen, showing love does not mean we don't have to institute discipline. The Bible says that if you're God's son, he chastises his children. That means irrespective of whether we're showing love or not, in the love, there is also, a truthfulness in terms of the way we deliver it, but also a discipline. You know, in love, there is a discipline that must come through, because if your behavior's off, you can't really show love in the way it's meant to be given. And so when there's a conversation between Marilyn and Victoria, it gets really interesting. So let me just pause it there. Let's really break down Victoria and Marilyn's kind of conversation. So obviously, even that initial when they're talking in amongst the group, Victoria's like, "Oh, you said this, da 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 da," right? And I think the exact word she used was, "I want to pick your brain and understand you." Sis, if I'm honest, even if that's what she said, she obviously, Marilyn says she didn't say that. She obviously she wants to seek to understand, etc. Either one for me is not bad. I'm sorry, either one of them is not causable for you hate me. I mean, if I say I want to understand you, even if I said it in a rude way, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just want to understand what you're saying, because you're chatting rubbish right now. It's still, at least I'm still telling you I want to understand you. Some people wouldn't even want to give you that time of day. So for me, I saw that and I said, she's intentionally picked on Marilyn because she feels that she can win this battle.
Okay, well then I will narrow out you. Like, you were rude to me earlier. Like, if you want to go there.
How was I rude to you?
Like, you said, I want to pick your brain and understand you and see why.
Marilyn's not a favorite. She's not top number one of Matt. So therefore, going after Marilyn makes real sense. She's going after the prey at the back of the herd. So I can see that it's intentional, right, that she's picked this girl. And then obviously after that, when they obviously then have a conversation, when Victoria snitches on Marilyn, for me again, number one here, there was no need to talk about Marilyn on the night of us doing roses. Like, it didn't make sense. This was meant to be a night where everyone gets to talk to Matt, etc., etc. And you then going on saying that, I'm frustrated, I need to tell him now. I was like, no, but sis, you had your time. Why didn't you tell him then? Why didn't you tell him that? It was tactical. She knew exactly what she didn't want to tell him then. She wanted to tell him and take some more time of his, right? And this prima donna behavior is childlike, but it's very calculating. It's very, very calculating the way she does it. And so when she spoke to Matt, Matt looked a little bit confused, a little bit angry as well. I don't think he fully believed her. I don't think he really fully believed her. And so when he had a conversation with, obviously, Marilyn, I don't think he really felt like Marilyn had done anything particularly wrong. We'll have to wait and see. It's to be continued. But I don't think he really believed Victoria when she said what she said, right? Although the cutscenes are saying that obviously he said, that Victoria's been a stand-up kind of girl for me, but you know what? His body language in that photo couldn't lie, man. He ain't interested. So now, when Marilyn comes out and graciously comes to her and said, look, hey, can we talk? I want to break down some things that happen. She asked if they can go outside, first of all.
Have a conversation outside?
You can sit there and we can have a talk. I'm not going outside. It's freezing.
That got rejected. It's too cold outside, apparently. All right, cool. And then obviously she wanted to sit. Marilyn said, obviously, look, I want to sit down next. Victoria then said, obviously, you got to sit over there. Yeah, don't sit next to me. Sit over there. And I was like, wait. First of all, the energy. And second of all, now you're trying to direct me and tell me not to go to the other sofa. And in fact, in the end, she ends up moving herself, Victoria, to the other sofa. And then Marilyn obviously says, okay, look, do you know what?
There.
Can I sit here?
Sure, and I'll sit there. I don't want to sit next to you.
All right.
It's getting a bit loud, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? It's getting a bit loud. And so let me even scoot back. Victoria actually says, I do not want to sit next to you. This is like high school bullying, where they're popular kids. It's like watching a movie. A popular girl or popular guy, wants to be rude and show her status that, hey, we don't sit with the nerds. That kind of one, yeah? And so, Marilyn says, obviously, look, it's...
Okay, it's a little bit loud. Do you mind if I just sit here?
No, I don't want to sit next to you.
All right, I'm just going to speak my heart to you, okay?
Go for it.
Getting a bit loud in it. Can we, go somewhere else and have a conversation? Again, it's rejected. Right. All right. Cool. And then Victoria very quite abruptly, with all the strength and gusto in her voice, says, "Look, I want to look inside. I want to look at your eye when you tell me what you have to tell me." And in fact, she even tries to hurry along. What have you got to tell me then? What you got to say then? And I was like, yo, this is mad. If you really deep this, I want you to, the reason why I'm kind of narrating it, I want you to see just how bad this behavior is. Yeah. She goes and say, she goes, obviously, she goes, obviously, I'm listening to what you have to say then, go on then. And then obviously then when Marilyn then apologizes, and I think, and this is what I'm saying about You know, you can be kind. You don't have to be toothless. You can be kind, don't have to be toothless. See how Kit was taking it. Kit was like, all right, cool. I'm a CFO, CEO. Now, I don't know if she's going to back it up, but the fact she gave that little bit of vim after tells me, listen, she will regulate some things. You get me? You can be kind, you know, you can be kind and everything like that, but you got to have boundaries. You know, when someone's doing something wrong to you like that, you just have to let them know, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not feeling this behavior. I can't deal with it. I'm going to walk away. But the thing is, I appreciate it because she tried to sort it out. You know, she really did try to have a conversation about it and try to have a conversation about the situation in a more mature adult way. But Victoria was not having it. And in fact, in the end, walked away. And I think that always shows us, you know, some people, regardless of how you approach them, look at the behavior. So sometimes you're like, oh, look at the approach. The approach still wouldn't have worked because a person has no interest in trying to make things work. Their only interest is self-serving. Yeah, and the only interest is trying to disgrace the person in front of them because that makes them feel better. There's a lot that there. I mean, I think Victoria really needs help. I think someone needs to come and just save her from her drowning. Whoever's her friends or family just really need to reach out to her and say, hey, look, I don't know what you're going through, but this behavior we're seeing on the screen, not appropriate. It's not levels. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm disappointed, but I know why. You know, I'm looking at her and I'm going, she's been through some things. That's what's making you have scarcity mindset where you have to fight everybody and you're choosing intentionally to go for Marilyn as well, right? Why would you pack your bags and sleep downstairs? Come on, sis. All of it's manipulation, man. You're trying to create a little drama and a certain viewpoint towards you. But hey, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you stay locked, stay loaded, and enjoy this review. We've got 2 more coming for you guys. We appreciate you as well.